Welcome to Redefining Medicine, an intimate and personalized program that illustrates a different side of the practice of medicine. Our in-depth conversations will focus on the physicians and practitioners who are redefining medicine through their integrative, functional, and holistic approach to health and well-being.
We are pleased to welcome Dr. Gowri Rocco, a renowned anti-aging clinician, double board certified in family medicine and in anti-aging regenerative and functional medicine. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you've shared with us previously on how an incredibly painful loss during your residency impacted your career trajectory. Will you share this story with our listeners?
Sure. I grew up coming from India, and my family immigrated here when I was really young, 6, and I have a brother and a sister. And as we were growing up, life was challenging, but it was really great just because we had, close-knit family, and my father's a physician as well, so we grew up really exposed to medicine early, but in a very positive way. My dad loves medicine. So when we were growing up, when I was leaving to college, my younger sister, who's the youngest, she was diagnosed with a very challenging disease, bipolar schizoaffective type. And at the time, even now, most physicians we treat with conventional treatments, and my sister, did respond, but had so many side effects, and she was able to progress through, college, went to college, went away, actually did really well, but she would have, cycle through these episodes, which is very common, and they have a high rate of hurting themselves or suicide. And so we were always aware of that. And one of the challenges of conventional medicine is that sometimes we're not aware of other things that could, improve conditions such as nutrition or exercise, supplementation, which I wasn't well versed on at the time either. And as soon as I was starting my residency, we had 9/11 that happened, and that kind of triggered my sister to go into a deep relapse. And she stopped taking her medications, and tragically we lost her to suicide, which is very painful even now, almost 2 decades later. So, that really affected me and crippled us as a family, and really made me challenge why I wanted to go into conventional medicine, and having had the best care and the medications and everything. And that's something I had to really work through. And thank God that I was able to utilize some of that pain to help me take that pain and help other people in a more impactful way every day in my practice, which is not just being aware of genetics and how that will affect us strongly, and being aware of our nutrition and exercise, and having to take the least amount of medications if we do all these other things, keeping our gut health healthy, keeping our disposition well as far as sleep and adrenal glands. So all this kind of has fortified my belief that there's so much more we could do as individuals, as physicians, to train our patients and to discuss with them that some of these things you can endure and overcome. And even if we have to use a lot of conventional treatments, we could use a lot less with less side effects. So it empowers me to be so much more open-minded and look at the healing aspect with such a bigger dimension. And that's what got me into functional medicine and regenerative medicine.
So when you first see a patient, and they don't know perhaps much about anti-aging functional medicine, how much education is there involved in terms of getting them to kind of buy in and become a partner in their own health care? How much time do you need to spend bringing them up to speed on what anti-aging medicine is all about?
I think it's very critical in the beginning that you form a strong foundation of trust. That, usually when patients hear about us doing functional medicine or regenerative, they kind of know someone that's done it, or they read about it, and they're inquisitive. They're not just coming to you expecting a prescription. So it's so important in the beginning to establish that trust and know that it's an interactive relationship with you and your patient, because we can't do everything on our own. Sometimes when you think, oh, here's a prescription, just take it, they could do it on their own, but it's far beyond that, right? So you are educating and you are motivating and you are expressing, sharing evidence-based medicine that it does work. And so it gives them a lot of reassurance that it's going to work. And it's so important to spend that time with them explaining the difference between what a body does when they move as opposed to when they don't move, when they eat right. So much less is needed. The majority of the diseases in cancers are all caused by our own actions. So when you sit and explain to them how much they can do to improve their own health, it empowers them. And so it forms a really strong bond from the beginning. If you could take time to establish that, explaining what functional medicine is and how it will help their life and save them so much money in the future from being ill.
And then especially once they start seeing and feeling the results, I got to imagine that they're that much more invested.
Enthusiastic, yep. And it keeps fueling them to want to know more. What more can they do? So, and they feel connected with you because, they know that, you have realistic expectations, of course. We're all human, but just cutting down on alcohol, cutting down on dairy, cutting down on sugars, and explaining to them why sugar is so evil, especially, all the sugars that we're surrounded by every day, simple, complex, all these sugars. So it's so important to just sit there and explain to them, and that's communication. Communication, people underestimate the power of connection. So when you have that time, use it valuably to explain to them, this is our direction and this is how much you grow from it. And they love it. They want to tell everybody about it. They spread the knowledge that they learn from you, and that's the beauty of it, is to help as many people as you can. So if you tell one person, they keep telling their family and their friends.
Right. The more they're educated, they can share that knowledge with others. Right.
Exactly, impacting others.
But that takes a while. That's not a 7 to 10 minute office visit, is it?
No, not at all. No, it generally the first appointment you have with the patient is about an hour, 15 minutes to an hour, and after that, usually half an hour. But yes, certain situations, with autoimmune diseases, with patients going through PCOS, it's so important that you really explain to them, this is what's happening. This is how your actions make it worse, or your improving your habits make it better. So yeah, this is the best thing, is to sit and explain to someone why we're doing these, why we're modifying their diet, their exercise, or their supplements.
Mm-hmm. So you graduated the fellowship a couple of years ago, right?
Yes, I did, yes.
Yeah. And that was in anti-aging regenerative functional medicine. Okay. But you're also here at the symposium in LA. So what kind of classes are you continuing to do?
So now I'm doing the peptide fellowship, and it's excellent. You just never stop learning, and there's always so much more to learn and improve our practice and implement. I love implementing it myself and teaching my patients. Just when we realize, when we come to a certain level of education, there's just so much more. Our life is dynamic, medicine is dynamic, and there's so much more we can do to keep influencing our patients in a positive way, to help prevent cancer, help them recover from a devastating occurrence of cancer or autoimmune disease. Even though we all do our best, to help patients, genetics still happens, situations still occur, and so we have to do our best to stay on top of medicine and keep educating ourselves so we can offer more options to our patients.
And A4M does a great job with a variety of conferences around the country, but they also offer a lot of these courses online. Have you ever taken any of the online courses?
They do. A4M is excellent that way. You can take any line and you could repeat the course, and it's so much more reasonable, very reasonable. It's so cheap to do it online too. But I love attending because I love the connection with, I like to ask questions, I like to see, I learn better when I'm in front of the professor or I listen. But it's also good because you form network and connections of your colleagues and how they do things differently. It's so humbling when you see brilliant professors. A4M has amazing speakers, I have to say, just phenomenal speakers, and they're so kind. They always take questions. You can go up to them afterwards. that's the only reason I don't do the online courses, but they're so popular. I mean, a lot of people can't afford to, travel all over the country to take these classes, but there's so many of them, throughout the year. So they make it really convenient for us.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Your medical practice, Optimum Wellness and Longevity, takes a unique approach to medical care, positioning anti-aging medicine at the forefront of your practice. Will you share on your journey of developing a clinical structure as well as a practice management framework that aligns with your passion for effective patient care?
Sure. So in my practice, we disclose we have a private payer system, and we make that clear just in things our practice runs on anti-aging medicine, which isn't usually covered by insurance. So we offer lab services, and then we offer nutraceuticals, and of course people come in whether it's for sick visits or usually well visits, but we offer from wellness all the way from physicals to bioidentical medicine to hormone optimization. And now it's exciting because I'm learning about peptide therapy. So clearly I'm going to implement that. So in the regulations of California, of course.
Right, right. So was it a slow transition where you started offering?
No, I just threw myself in
Yeah.
and just went full on. And it was really exciting because when I first started with A4M, I mean, I've always had the passion for this because I'm from India, so it's always been in me to pursue wellness instead of the sickness pathway. And it's so exciting that when I made the connection with A4M, I just felt really motivated. My director, Dr. Pamela Smith, Dr. Rothenberg, all those in the beginning, they just really influenced me to just go all in and give it a shot, so I did. And over the years, over the decade, I've had 3 kids, I finished my double board certification, and it just comes with time. I just took, each year one by one, didn't really put too much pressure on myself, and enjoyed the process of learning and growing and just learning from my mistakes, how to handle my business differently with each new thing I learned. So I developed a lot of confidence just by keeping in touch with A4M and just keep coming and refresher courses, and really didn't take 1 year off from learning. And I think that's what really gave me my confidence to just go all in.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a unique perspective, having been taking classes and workshops and such for the last 12 years or so.
Yes, yes.
And I've been involved with A4M for that length of time and more, and I've heard how, the educational component has just gotten so much more science-based and
oh, yes, evidence-based medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband, it's really funny because he's a conventional practitioner for so long, and as soon as I got into A4M, and he was like, wow, gosh, you really love this. And so he came with me finally, and he was so excited. Now he does the courses, he did the fellowship, we do the cardiology modules together. But it's really exciting, to keep an open mind and just we always have to keep open minds about everything, evaluate what we're listening to, and incorporated it into how we can use some of that to help our patients. And it's really influenced my husband in such a positive way. So we work together, and it's great, So he joins me every year. We go to our cardiology modules or whichever module. And so it kind of reinforces that, learning. You should never stop learning, never stop being a student.
Right, because there's a lot to learn.
So much, yeah.
So I understand you've written a book.
Yeah, so that was a long process. It took me about 5 years, and last year, we finally launched my book, and it was so exciting. It's called Growing Younger, and Restore Your Hormones, Energy, and Sex Drive. And I was very blessed because I've been, Suzanne Summers kind of took me under her wings and has always been a positive influence and role model for me as far as being a spokeswoman for bioidentical hormones. She's always referred so many patients and been really gracious. She wrote my foreword and enjoyed reading my book. So she's such an author. So I enjoyed having someone to look up to who's been so published. So it made it very doable for me. If she can do it, so can I, and so many of my colleagues and professors have published. So I felt that if I couldn't see enough patients to make an impact on everybody. I would love to publish what I do and what I tell my patients so people can get it and do it on their own without having to see me or having to see a functional physician if they couldn't afford it. But at least here are the pearls that I've learned, and here's all my expensive education put into a very easy to read book that you can do at home every day. And it was a really, it just felt like I was able to give back to so many people, and I hope people enjoy reading it. It was like such a pleasure to put out and finally finish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you meet Suzanne through A4M?
I did,
Yeah.
yes. And I came to, because I've been in A4M for so long, and back then, I guess she's still very involved, extremely involved with Life Extension and A4M, and I met her almost at every time I came, and she's so gracious, just such a gracious woman, and her husband too. They're just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
She did a number of keynote presentations.
Yep, she did, and she'd have events afterwards that she'd invite us to. So she was so gracious, and she's always so gracious.
Yeah, she did a lot to help this movement,
Oh, absolutely.
and awareness in general public.
From the beginning, when I graduated from med school, I read her book right away, Ageless, and it just makes a huge impact as a woman, and I'm a women's health specialist. I did a fellowship in women's health, and it just empowers women to put ourselves first. If you want to take good care of your family, your husband, your community, women cannot ignore their health if they want to have a healthy family and just everything. It has to come with self-care. And men, too. I mean, we all have to put self-care first. If you want your family to thrive, your business to thrive, you have to believe in what you practice.
Right.
And she does that. She's a strong advocate of that. So I love it.
Yeah. So you're taking one of the peptide workshops. Have you taken one previously?
I have, yes. I took one last year in San Diego.
Okay.
And then I'm taking more today. So it's a 4-course program. And so I'm completing the program with this weekend.
Oh, okay. And so were you able to, on Monday morning, as they say, apply some of what you've learned, and can you talk about how your patients have responded?
Yes, that's one thing that we're encouraged at A4M is whatever you learn, just try to slowly incorporate it, because if you don't get comfortable ever doing it. So especially with peptides, California is a bit more stricter in the state, and so the peptides, there's over 40 peptides are FDA approved, but you have to look at each state regulation. So for California, there's 7 as of today that I can utilize, so I will. So come Monday, I already made a list of patients. I'm writing down conditions and what I can think about implementing with them. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm so excited to go back Monday and then look at my schedule and see which patients are coming up and how can I utilize the peptides for some of these patients. So it's super exciting. Even though my portfolio isn't 44 peptides or 40, but at least I have the 7, and if I could optimize those with my patient population, it's fabulous. So that's a thing about A4M. They really give you the tools, the confidence to implement right away. And you learn from your peers, but most importantly, I'm one of those people that ask so many questions, and they seem really stupid to me, but when I ask them, I feel so relieved that they didn't see it as stupid and they answer them. So I love it. That's why I show up and I come, because I love that interaction, and it's great. So of course, yes, I'm super excited to go back to work and implement all the stuff that I learned so I could keep learning. Yeah, and keep using what I learned here this weekend.
The other thing that's unique about this organization is that the membership, they're so diverse. They come from all these different backgrounds.
You have dentists, you have chiropractors, you have pharmacists, you have every type of physician, any kind of caretaker. We see a lot of naturopaths and DOs, MDs, whichever healer we are. You see so many different people from different countries and every state. And it's so cool because we're all here kind people, caring people, humble, just wanting to learn more and do our best for our people that we take care of.
Well, we're thrilled that you took the time to join us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity with A4M. I would never have advanced this far in my career or have helped as many people as I have, you know, if it wasn't for the strong, fundamental, evidence-based medicine that I get, and it's worth every penny and every investment.
Oh, that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, thank you.